Today, we're looking at the Pixel 10 Pro XL 7 to 8 months later after release date. Now, I only say 7 to 8 months, just depends on when I publish this video. Now, I got two disclaimers. One, if you hear any pet sounds like my cat, no animals were harmed in the making of this video. My cat's just needy. Now, the second disclaimer is no sponsorships were involved in this video. And I can proudly say that because I have the receipts on hand. And I like to show that because I want to give honest and transparent reviews, unlike other reviewers out here. So bring in the receipt. You'll see the messaging log there, items sold, top right corner. Would you look at that? That's the Pixel box. Now I have this blurred out just because I don't want to show the seller's information. But if you know that, that was through OfferUp, if I didn't say that already. I do have to mention, if you are buying on secondhand markets, always, guys, try to go for high-rated reviewers, sellers. Look for those high ratings and comments. That's going to give you the best bet that you're buying from a safe source. You don't want to buy somewhere sketchy, because that might run the risk of getting something blacklisted. Meaning, you buy it, it works, you got service, then days, months later, who knows how much later down the line, it just stops working. Then you're stuck with a rock, a potato. You can't even eat it. It's worth nothing. No one wants it. You got a Wi-Fi device, but pretty kind of unusable. So yeah, look for high rating reviewers. You heard the kitty. She agrees too. So now, guys, the way that I could do this review, I like to do my reviews kind of like a yearly matchup. So this phone is a 2025 phone. So I'm going to be talking about these other 2025 options throughout the video. And then next, the way that I do the review is I like to only focus on what I like to say are the most important categories that you should consider for a phone. And I say that because, guys, you could be nitpicky about a lot of things. You don't like the design of a phone. Maybe you say the speakers aren't that great. You don't like the haptics of the phone. I mean, there are some people that really get really into it, audiophiles, the quality to them is something that they really care about. I can go on, but I'm not going to be that hyper-focused on a lot of those categories because I'm going to only cover what you should care about, what really matters. So I got a chart on the side. I'm going to be popping it in and out of the video so that we know what we're talking about as we're talking about these categories. So looking at the lineup, we have in 2025 the Oppo Find X8 Ultra. I don't have that one on the table, but I have used the Find X8 Pro and the base Find X8, the Pixel 10 Pro XL right here, the Samsung S25 Ultra. I made a review on the channel. Go look that up if you're interested. We have the OnePlus 15. We'll be making a video on this later, so if you like this style, like, comment, subscribe, and be on the lookout for that. We have the Vivo X200 Ultra. I've used that one. I don't have it anymore. I have the X100 Ultra, but I'm familiar with that phone is like. And then lastly, the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. Have not used the Ultra. I've used the 15 and the regular 15, not the Pro or the Ultra, but I'm familiar with the OS and how that phone is like. And I only say all that because, guys, yeah, I'm familiar with these phones, and it's important to know that the history and, the fact that I've used them because I can give you full in-depth knowledge that maybe other people aren't going into, because I feel like a lot of people are really surface level. 7 to 8 months later is a great way to look at phones. People only look at the phone maybe the first month or 3, and after that, no one talks about it. But now I'm giving you, long-term review so you can truly see if the brand that you buy is actually, reputable, trustworthy. Is it a good option in the long term? Looking at these phones, we see that the Pixel 10 Pro XL was released on August 28, 2025. So kind of towards the end, but not quite towards the end because the OnePlus was the one towards the latter of the year, November 13th, 2025. In the beginning of the year, we get the Samsung in February, and then we see the Xiaomi shortly after. And then we got the Oppo and the Vivo around the same time. So again, the Pixel is kind of, towards the end of the year, like around Q4, if you want to go off of, corporate jargon talk. But yeah, towards the end of the year. No ranking there, but next let's talk about the screen size. So with the Pixel, it's at 6.8, not the biggest out of the bunch, nor the smallest. Right across, we have the Vivo, not the 200 again, just the 100X Ultra, but we see that the 100 is a little bit bigger. The 200 Ultra is at 6.82, so slightly bigger. The Samsung was the big boy. I've used the Samsung. People maybe not like big phones, but to be honest, I like this range around 6.8, 6.9. Really, good. If you don't want the big style phone, you could always go for the Pixel 10 Pro. But we're not going to be covering that one because I got the XL version here. All right. So now that we got through those, now we are going to be talking about the first rank category, which is updates. And this is an important area that I do want to cover because I feel like reviewers, for whatever reason, aren't looking at this full picture, big picture, right? I feel like people are going off a number and saying big number means good, and that's that. Well, I don't think that's quite the whole story. And so let's look at the chart. We see that the Pixel and the Samsung now are pretty much going at 7 OS and 7 security updates. And then after that, we have the Oppo giving the next best updates, 5 OS, 6 security. Then we see OnePlus and Xiaomi, they're neck and neck, 4 OS updates, 6 security updates. And then the Vivo is 3 OS updates, and then somewhere around 4 to 5. They can't make up their mind if they want 4 or 5 for your security. So again, reviewers are saying big number means good. Yeah, it lasts longer. However, I've used all these phones to a degree, as I mentioned, and I don't think that that's the best way to look at updates, because if you don't know, updates can make you have slowdowns, meaning your phone becomes sluggish, you start seeing the battery draining, and then sometimes your performance is lacking. And then next, I don't understand why people aren't honestly thinking about the track record of a company and the types of updates that you're getting in a phone. And so now I'm going into the ranking, and I'm going to say the one that gets the most points for updates is 6 to the Samsung. One UI is without a doubt still the king of OS, and it's actually, in my opinion, giving the users the most updates that are just so feature packed. Like both the Google and the Samsung are like top, but what Samsung's giving you is so much more. The way you get Samsung Dex, the modes and routines, the AI is actually up there with Google. You get, oh my goodness, you got so much customization. The widget stacking, the changes to the clocks are changing too. You can then go to the Samsung store to get another app called Good Lock to then do even more customization. It is crazy. You can honestly, if you want to spend a lot of time customizing, Samsung is where it's at. 6 points goes to the Samsung. I'm going to go through the ratings and then just tell you why I gave Pixel the number. Next, I would say 5 goes to the Oppo. In my opinion, Oppo as a user, I am feeling like it gives me more updates than the Pixel, useful updates. It's growing in its AI. It's also found a way to make the OS less storage. While Pixel, if you look in your storage, you're getting a lot of allocation on Gemini and all that. That's taking up a lot of your storage. You get a lot of AI on the Oppo, and yet it's so fluid and great. And I feel like it's like you're freaking ice skating or something on that phone. It's so smooth, guys. And then next, 4 points to the OnePlus. So, I mean, at this point, OnePlus is kind of a mirror of Oppo. So I'm only giving it 4 because, I mean, they're getting the, ColorOS, Oxygen OS, they're kind of mirrors. So 4 points to the OnePlus. And then 2 points for the Vivo. I love the phone, guys. This phone is amazing. People love hyping it up for like the big camera. And if you don't think it's a great camera, I mean, that huge thing is saying something. It's saying, yeah, I got it here. Great camera, guys, but updates, I mean, if you look at the chart, the fact that they can't stick to a number 4 to 5 is kind of concerning. But also on top of that, I didn't feel like it gave me a lot of great updates. I mean, I feel like the features were kind of lackluster. So that's why I gave it a 2. I don't feel like the OS is getting any slowdown from the updates, which is why I'm giving the last place 1 point to the Xiaomi, because HyperOS is the new king of just lackey optimization, which I'll cover later because I got another category that's going to talk about that too. But the updates on the Xiaomi, I don't know what Xiaomi's doing, but since changing to MIUI to now HyperOS, I mean, you're getting similar features across these Chinese brands. They kind of look the same, copying that Apple style, but I could say that the updates on the Xiaomi, I'm not seeing much improvement long term. Like, it's not well optimized. Now, the reason why the Pixel is not so high up on my list, and you saw that I gave it a 3, is because even though this Pixel is giving you 7 updates, I'm going to call it what it is, guys. A lot of people, Google's giving a lot of marketing, and I just feel like there's not an honest critique of the Pixel. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with the Pixel. I've used the 4A, which honestly was one of my favorite phones. I skipped the 5 to 6. I used the 7 and sadly found that the Pixel still did not work up some issues. And then I've been kind of in the background hoping that they fix those issues. The 8 had issues and the 9 finally fixed them, and now here we're at the 10. The issues that I'm referring to, guys, and people are going to say, oh no, I never had that. Well, I did. Is the battery, the draining and the overheating. Now I had a Pixel 7 and sadly I couldn't use that. I'm not going to talk too much into that because we're looking at the 10 now, but it has left me feeling like I cannot fully trust the Pixel. I mean, we're so many generations in and it finally took the 9 series to fix it, so I was hesitant, but the 10 has fixed some things. However, aside from the updates finally, making a more optimized OS and it's not experiencing battery degradation, it's just not as good of a battery experience compared to the Oppo, the OnePlus, even the Samsung or the Vivo. It does do better than the Xiaomi, but I just find it hard to trust it for someone of my needs. And after the whole ranking, I'll tell you who I think this phone is best for. Now, let's talk about what you get in the updates, because everyone's just looking at this number and thinking, oh, Pixel is great. It's got high number, high means good, right? And I don't like that perspective because there's just so much more to account for, and I don't feel like anyone's talking about it. All right, guys, I'm back. I'm really pushing my phone to the limits. I'm recording with OnePlus open, so apologies, but we're still talking about updates, and I had some links that I thought I had open, but now I have them here. So again, a lot of reviews are saying big number better, and that's it. But I do want to mention just a track record of the types of updates that you have been getting with Google, because Google likes to, kind of show off and say, well, not only do we give you 7 years, but we also like to do it in this frequency that we call pixel drops. So let's look at these pixel drops and see what you actually got. Now, I just did a quick search, so most of these I might be missing something, but it is, again, Google, so you should be giving me, the most important ones, right, Google? I don't know. But looking at the list, I'm going to just look a few years back, 2023 to 2026. Looking at 2023, if we look at December, some of the things that we got were enhancements to the recorder, summarization, video boost, camera upgrades, night sight, time lapse, upgrades to the call screening, things to the Pixel Watch, a feature for scanning documents. We got some safety improvements, some crash detection, some personalization options for your lock screen, fall detection to some of the other items in the ecosystem like the Buds, the Watch, the Chromebooks and all that, and then some redesigns to the camera app. Looks like we got a dual screen interpreter for the Fold and some other customizations. Other updates that were aimed to improve performance, battery life, and camera. Now, all updates are always going to try doing that, so I'm not going to, shade more on the Pixel. But just going off that list, guys, some good ones, right? The summarization. Now, good credit to Google that they're trying to improve that. Would love that you could let me take advantage and control of my files, though, and not just force me to do it on the cloud, like you're trying to force others in the video boosting. Now, you boast and like to show off about that you do great video, only to then have us later find out that you have to do it through your cloud. So kind of a curveball there that you threw us, and don't really appreciate that. Some other ones that I thought didn't really make sense were like the scanning of the documents. I mean, you can easily go find apps that have been doing that for years. So interesting choice in focusing that on an update. Not going to really talk about a lot on the ecosystem stuff that was brought because I don't have other Google products. And if you're in that ecosystem and you have Google products, then obviously you must love those. So can't comment on those. The redesigns to the camera app UI. Always finding that Google is making a lot of UI changes. Not sure why. It always seems like they have one thing and they always change it. Personalization options for the lock screen. Always trying to add to redesigning, which is great, but it's sometimes there's wonky things happening with the way they redesign. Now let's look at the 2024 Pixel drop, and going off of the highlights that Google is giving me from sources, enhancements to its AI, which is great because you do like to mark your phone as the AI king. Now there's call screening enhancements, things for enhancing the camera, pixel screenshots, which is automating the way you save screenshots. I think it's pretty cool. Not seen until like the Nothing phone, and now other phones are copying you. So, got to give you your credit. Device management, 80% charging optimization limit. Like, come on, that's been added in other phones like a long time ago. So kind of odd to see you do that. October, we're looking at some enhancements to some ecosystem things here, where the Pixel Buds is getting call screening improvements, reverse phone lookup, so in the call log, and magic composition compose for your messages. So, I mean, I don't personally like some of the AI integrations that are happening. Like, I want to write for myself, so I don't even use those kind of AI tools like smart writing and finish like my sentences across other options. But I mean, if you like it, it's there. So, they're tweaking their AI, so okay. Now let's look at 2025. Some of the highlights here, and I don't see the one that I wanted to talk about. Maybe, oh, there it is. So we see in March, we see some AI scam detection, always great. I do miss Google's call screening, even though I don't use Google anymore. It's a feature that I always miss. We have some widgets enhancements to the stickers, some updates addressing Bluetooth improvements. I have had issues with Bluetooth in the OnePlus, but just more so like in audio and not getting as much compared to other brands. But interesting that the OnePlus, the Pixel is still improving some of those issues with Bluetooth. Again, some more personalized things like the Google Photos. There in November, we see the one for Wicked themed content. Guys, I don't know why you're adding things that people maybe never asked for. Wicked was a movie that released, and you guys hyped it up with all these exclusive wallpapers. If I wanted a wallpaper, I can easily find that myself. Why are you making the time for development on that? I don't know why. That's annoying. AI editing, if you care about, your photos, personally, I like to take a photo that's true to the moment, but if you like that other stuff, cool. See, I don't mind editing with the vividness of a photo and filters, but when you're now changing things, like removing things, it's kind of, in my opinion, different. And I don't know if I like that. You may or may not. Scam detection, I mean, I like that they're always trying to make that a thing. I do miss how the Pixel just clears your scams, because now that I'm off the Pixel, I just get so many calls, and that's annoying. So yeah, updates to enhancing the battery optimization, improvements to biometrics, responsiveness, and display fixes. And again, that rebranding of Wicked. So that's what you got in 2025. So, and then now we're in 2026. Some of the things that we're looking at now, again, more Gemini enhancements. The enhancements to the AI are coming in slow, like waves, and it's cool. I mean, I like the circle of search was, a really cool one. At a glance one is now being able to disable. Many people have wanted that removed. The fact that it's taken them years and now we're making such a big hype about it is kind of odd because it's like all these other phones have so much control. Really odd. Comfort display, enhanced performance. You get some more productivity features that are coming in the way. The desktop mode, which honestly is long awaited. It's been a decade and you are finally making that. Use your time. You could have been using your time to do that and not give us stupid things like the Wicked. And I know I'm flaming them guys, but I just can't help it. It's just, what are you doing? Fixes to crashes. They are giving things like AirDrop. Really cool. Honestly, got to give them kudos for that. And then we'll see what the year brings next. So that's not a full list, but per Google, that's kind of the main ones. But what I noticed throughout those updates was there was a lot of highlights on the AI enhancements, of course, which I don't have any bad gripes there. But there was a lot of redesigning on the interfaces, a lot of weird things like people don't even ask, like, give me Wicked themed content. I know I'm like really hung up on that one, but I can't help it. There was one that wasn't mentioned, but at one point they also offered like emoji wallpapers. And I'm making this one a long segment, guys, because big number doesn't always mean the best. And I just feel like Google can do better if it's giving 7 years. I don't feel like it's giving just enough features, unlike other phones like the Samsung. So that's why I gave it 3. So that was just the first category. And I know that was a long one, but now let's look at the chipset. And this one's going to be a little bit easier. So we're dealing with the Tensor G5 and then the Snapdragon class. Here we don't have any MediaTek. So if you don't know, MediaTek is often better praised for its optimization and battery management. But we don't have that here. It's just Snapdragon and then Tensor. The Tensor G5 is in the Pixel 10 Pro. That's equivalent to a Snapdragon 8 Gen 4S. Kind of talking gibberish here, but it's not the best of the best compared to the lineup. We see many of the phones here have the 8 Elite, and then the OnePlus released last in the year has the 8 Elite Gen 5. Snapdragon, you need to make it better to talk about these because that kind of gets confusing. But if we look at this, it's a little bit easier to rate. Obviously, the OnePlus is going to get 6 points because the performance is the best with the newest chipset. Then I'm going to give 5 points to the Samsung because although all these other 8 Elite phones in the chart you see, the Samsung, which I don't have on the table, has the special overclocked 8 Elite. So 5 points to the Samsung. Next, I would say 4 points to Oppo because now we're not only just accounting for this chip, but also the OS. And the OS that Oppo has paired with the chipset does a great job. So 4 points for the Oppo. And then I'm going to say 3 points to the Vivo because it's not the best feature packed as we mentioned, but it does do good in terms of OS and pairing it with the chipset, not a battery drainer. Then 2 points for the Pixel. It's not in last place, surprisingly, even though it has a Tensor chip. It's not the most performance, but I have seen some improvements, so I'm happy to say that, even with my experiences in the past. And then lastly, 1 point to the Xiaomi. And so now just looking at the Pixel. Guys, a lot of reviewers are going to be giving a lot of grace with the Pixel, and I get it. You guys want to keep saying that you don't need all that power and the Tensor G4, blah, 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 or G5, and all this is going to be, just enough. But call it what it is, guys. I personally think that what Google is trying to pay you guys, you're getting a ripoff, and I'm just not going to give them this, I'm not going to let that slide. You guys are trying to go on Google's side. Let's be real clear here. Yes, it's not, you may not need all the performance if you're a certain type of user, which I will say, but for the price that you pay for a Pixel, you might as well go for other options, because if you're looking for performance, because you don't really find it here if you're really trying for reliable performance. Has gotten better, but I can find more trusted reliability on these other options. So now next category, we're looking at battery. So with the battery, looking at the chart, we're looking at the capacity and also its usage. So again, let's not just say big numbers better. In most cases for battery, that might honestly be the case, but we have to do real usage to determine if it's actually good. So with the highest battery, in this case, it does take the lead, 6 points to the OnePlus. But not only is it because it's the biggest battery, but it's because of what OnePlus is doing with its software. When you pair the big battery and this software, it's just smooth, 1 to 2 days, easily. It's, no lie, really good in battery. Next is 5 points to the Oppo. You know, the only reason why it didn't get, Oppo tends to be the more premium option compared to OnePlus, but in this case, the OnePlus had the bigger battery, so the Oppo gets 5 points. After the Oppo, we're looking at the Vivo. The Vivo is at 6,000 milliamps. It's now pretty up there, and it's pretty well optimized OS, so I find that it does pretty good. So that's why I would give it next points for the Vivo, 4 points. Now I'm going to give 3 points to the Samsung. Now the Samsung in the past has had battery issues. Heck, they even had one phone that blew up, but they haven't had that happen since. But I have not used one Samsung in a while, but they have actually managed to do some great optimization with One UI. So 3 points to the Samsung. And then now 2 points to the Pixel. Now, oddly enough here, we see that the Pixel has 200 more milliamps than the Samsung. So it's higher battery than the Samsung, but it's lower battery than the Xiaomi. Yet it's not ranked the last one. So the reason why I'm giving 2 points to the Pixel is because of the way it's optimized with its OS. So I will say it has seen improvements, but it could be better. Still not as good as Samsung in my opinion, but it is getting better, and I do like to see that. I feel like it still needs a little bit more work, and then you'll probably be good. And then lastly, this Xiaomi, the surprising one, because we see that it's higher milliamps than the Pixel, and yet I'm rating it last. Why? And that's because big number doesn't always mean better. Higher battery, yes, than the Pixel, but the Xiaomi HyperOS, that chipset demands so much draw power, and for some reason Xiaomi has not optimized their OS well. That Xiaomi phones, the 15 series, has all been just like hand warmers, even more overheating and drainage than the Pixel, surprisingly. So that's the lineup for the battery. Next, we're looking at camera. Camera is a subjective one because, I mean, all of these are great cameras, and you know, now it's going to be dependent on your preference. And I do love the Pixel, but I do feel like it could do better. And I mean, I got to give it 6 points to the Vivo. Not just because of how they're making these phones look with this big bump, but I will say though that the Vivo and the Chinese phones, they're each doing something unique. And Vivo, I love this phone, guys. Like, I have it solely as a camera, keep it offline. It is giving me kind of DSLR quality. On top of that, I can trust its video, which I really can't with the Pixel. So 6 points to the Vivo. Next, Oppo. Now, funny enough, as much as I love the camera on the Vivo, Oppos tend to be my go-to, if not the OnePlus. Obviously, Oppos are more expensive, but I love the tuning of the Oppo. It's got great color tuning. It gives you a punchiness, which isn't too much saturation, but it's just enough where I like it, in my opinion. Very good. And I actually like it a little bit more than the Vivo at times, which is, 5 points to the to the Oppo. After the Oppo, I'm gonna say Now I'm gonna give 4 points to the Pixel. So the Pixel, marketed as the best camera to a lot of people, I don't think it's there. Only because, yes, this phone has a great selfie, honestly the best selfie. The shots that you get for the rear camera in terms of pictures, great. It is getting enhancements to the zoom, so that's awesome. But the video is always lackluster, and that's where I'm saying 4 points, because I can't just grade a picture, a camera on picture quality. I'm accounting for all camera, so pictures and videos. So that's why I'm giving 4 to the Pixel. Next, Samsung. Samsung, I'm gonna give 3, because even though it's not the best camera, it's kind of like the all-rounder. Its color tuning is not great. It's gotten better. As someone as myself, it always makes me look not true to tone, but it's getting there. But it does have way better video than the Pixel at times. A little bit more consistent, I would say sometimes. But I just don't like the picture quality compared to the Pixel. So that's why I like the Pixel a little bit better. Even if I am getting a little bit more better video on the Samsung at times, the video on the Pixel is actually kind of getting better. At night times, it kind of takes a step back. But overall, I don't need the video boost. I think they're getting better at the video per pixel. So Samsung gets 3 points. Next, OnePlus. I love OnePlus. I mean, they did great phones. But I'm looking at the OnePlus 15, and I don't like the fact that they gave a camera downgrade. When I don't get the Oppo, I go for the OnePlus. I've loved what OnePlus does, but in terms of consistency, you get a little bit more consistency with the Pixel if you just want to point and shoot. Video is a little bit better, but again, less consistent. You're gonna have to know how to work your camera, which you may not want to do. So 2 points for the OnePlus. And then lastly, the Xiaomi. Xiaomi, I don't know what you're doing, but every single time you open up that camera, that battery is like overheating like crazy. On top of that, you got 2 modes, which is honestly pretty cool. You got authentic and then vibrant. I often found that authentic was always the one that was best. And but there's a little bit of saturation, and I don't like how it just overheats. So camera, you're good, but I mean, I just don't feel like I would go for you compared to my other options. I'd rather go for the Pixel if I were going for camera compared to the Xiaomi. So that's the lineup for camera. Pause here real quick. The reason why I'm not adding camera samples, pictures, videos in this video is because it's quite long. So if you do want to see samples of what this camera looks like, I'm going to be adding that in another video on the channel, so look out for that. Thank you, sir. And now back to the video. Now we're going to be looking at long-term usage reliability. Now this category, what I mean by a long-term usage is, can you actually buy the phone and then rely on it? And as I mentioned already, updates kind of slow down that phone. And I think it's important to account for this because, again, just because a phone says it's going to have support, does it actually mean that it's good support? Can you rely on it? And that's where I'm going to say 6 points on the OnePlus. I hate to know that this phone may not, see a next series, but 6 points to the OnePlus. Doesn't get the most updates, but these phones have aged so good. The battery is amazing. The fact that one update from the 14 to the 15 saw a reduction in storage is amazing. It's always fluid. I can rely on this phone even after updates, which means 5 points to the Oppo, because yes, the Oppo is the premium, but in North America, you're probably gonna want to go for the OnePlus because you have easier accessibility. Next, for Samsung, I'm going to give you 4 points. You're the all-rounder in North America, the easy one, the easy choice after the ones I mentioned. Not the flashiest, but I mean, you probably can get easily reliability here. One UI has been cleaning up its quirks, and so 4 points there. Next, now we're looking at 3 points for the Pixel. Sorry guys, but yes, the Pixel has seen improvement, but I just cannot recommend that this phone is reliable just because of all the, I mean, you saw in the drops, they're always fixing it up with its interface, UIs, and fixes and bugs. So that's why I have to give it 3. 2 points to the Vivo because, you know, you're kind of boring. You don't give me features, but I can trust you. So yeah. And then lastly, the Xiaomi. I don't know what the history for Xiaomi looks like, but until you can fix your optimization, I don't even know if I can rely on you, because if you're going to give me an update, your current one is showing me that you haven't figured out how to optimize your OS. You got great specs, great camera, but I can't rely on you if my phone's always overheating, and that's no good for the amount that I'm paying. Next category, it would be lifespan durability. And when I talk about durability, you do want to account for repairs and warranty. So the way that I would rank this, 6 points goes to the Samsung. Honestly, Samsung sales are the most. OnePlus is not there yet. I love OnePlus, and the Pixel is catching up, but Samsung in North America is the most selling phone and the most popular. So in terms of repairs, warranty, you can take that at Best Buy, second stores. They're going to have parts. So 6 points to Samsung. Next, the most popular in North America would probably be the the Pixel, sorry. So 5 points goes there. You're probably going to get an easy repairability and warranty on these, because I mean, you have Best Buy, you have second stores, you even have now Google stores. So 5 points there. And then OnePlus, although this is the last OnePlus that we may see in North America, 4 points because you did have a window where you were actually able to send it off and get repairs done. Although sometimes people would say the customer service there is not that great, but at least you have that option. And then next, the Chinese roundup. I mean, you buy these phones, you import them. This one's kind of going to be tough because you're paying for a high premium, and you really can't take these to much stores. I don't think you really can. I mean, second stores might not even have these parts. The Oppo, 3 points, because you kind of mirror the identity of the OnePlus. Maybe you can get it repaired. Doubt it. But you're not going to get warranty, you know. And then I'm going to say Xiaomi because they're expensive. You're, I don't think you're going to get it repaired though. So 2 points to the Xiaomi. And then lastly, Vivo's 1 point, because although the camera's great, of the Chinese brands, the Vivo tends to be the highest priced one. So if you're buying this phone already imported, repairing this thing is going to cost you a lot. Don't even know how you're going to do that in North America, but 1 point, and it's going to be a pretty penny. For the final category, features. And we're looking at what phone gives you the best unique and useful features. Some of the points I say here may be a recap, but that's just because some of these categories do cross over sometimes. Now looking at the ranking, the winner in this one, 6 points, Samsung. And that's because One UI right now is still the king of features in Android, because it is jam-packed, useful, and most unique. We're talking the software giving you things like Samsung Secure Folder if you want to isolate your apps. If you want it for privacy reasons, you can use Samsung DeX, which has been the fleshed out desktop mode that is now, partnered with Google to finally after decades work on giving Android the desktop mode. Samsung has had that for years now. Beautiful feature, underrated. You have things like its own assistant, which is somewhat underrated because you can have it use some things within the phone itself, execute some commands there that Gemini can't, so that goes to Bixby. There's also customizations within the phone that you could do in terms of changing your lock screen, personalizing your themes, personalizing your keyboard. It's almost endless, guys. You can spend so much time doing that stuff if you really want. And if identity, putting it in your tech is what you like, that's Samsung has that for you. You can go even beyond that and then go to Samsung Store, get an app called Good Lock, and then do even more customizations if you want to go that route. Oh my goodness, what else? You got modes and routines, which is kind of like equivalent, not, I wouldn't say as powerful as Apple shortcuts, but it can allow you to do those things which honestly all other Android phones lack. Um, and so there's that. And then lastly, the camera has a lot of customizations there in its Pro mode and the way you can do stickers. And I might be missing some of these things because again, there's so much things to mention about Samsung. But the last thing I do want to mention is Samsung's UI, AI features. Surprisingly, in the beginning, Google was positioning itself as the leading innovator of Android AI space, talking about how the Tensor chip was going to give you amounts AI capability that no other brands could do. And funny enough, Snapdragon has shown us that a lot of what Google has done, Samsung is doing. Yes, Google did some of the things early, like call screening. Samsung actually has call screening now. I wouldn't say it's better. I still like the Google's version, but I mean, Samsung is getting there with its own call screening. Other AI features that are great, the Recorder app also does transcription like the Google and all these other Chinese brands. And in fact, you can actually save those files in your internal storage with the Samsung, whereas the one on the Google, you cannot do that. You can only save it to the cloud. There's what else? There's ways that you can. There's its own magic eraser. I mean, you're getting that from Google Gemini. You can do live translation. So a lot of the features, some of the features that Google's AI has fleshed out, Samsung has those too. It doesn't have now playing. It doesn't have the awesome dictation like Google, but I mean the AI is there. So 6 points to Samsung. So really taking the show there. Next, I'll say 5 points to the Google, and that's because even though I do like using Oppo myself, and I do like the features that Oppo provides and that feeds to OnePlus, the Chinese brands are kind of using an iPhone skin, which I don't mind. But I will say though that they're really just copying features, so they're kind of coming down the pipeline from what Samsung and then what Google is doing, which they're useful, just not unique. I will give credit in the regard to Google, where they do have some good features, which even though I'm not a Google user, I miss. For example, I won't show it now, but call screening was a good feature that I miss. I feel that I get a lot of spam calls whenever I'm now switched to even a Samsung phone or an Oppo phone, OnePlus phone. The Google phone, just the call screening is great. I miss that. Something I don't miss as much, but was useful probably when I was at a different age now playing. So if you like to, go to shows and events and things like that, it was always useful when I did use it, but I don't have use for it as much. Pick up a phone and, oh, what's that song playing? You would see it in your lock screen. So that's pretty cool. Satellite SOS. So if you're in an emergency, I do like that Pixel has the ability to do like the SOS feature there. If you're out there, emergency SOS, Pixel Satellite. I like how this phone does like the crash detection stuff. They're not exciting features, but they are useful in that regard. Other things that I really miss about this phone would be like the dictation, and I will show an example of that. So just pulling up my two phones here. So what I'm showing you now, the OnePlus, my current phone here, and the Pixel. So the cool thing about the Pixel is that you can get better live like voice typing. And just to show you the settings, these are both using Gboard. It looks different on the Pixel. So when you go to voice typing, you have this setting where it says faster voice typing, but it's different here on the Pixel. You'll notice here when I start this live, example, that the icon of the Google has the Google colors. The Google will do better voice typing. It even does punctuation. So if you ask questions, it adds question marks. On other Android phones, it does not do that. So let's see this. So do you think you'll be able to go meet up at the store later today and see how that keeps typing? So right now, it's going pretty good. At the rate that we saw, it was not that bad on the not the OnePlus, but you did notice that the typing was just a little bit more faster on the Pixel. Sometimes on most days, the Androids that aren't Pixels, OnePlus, Oppo, the voice typing lags, and the voice typing on the Google is just always better, and it has the punctuation. So I do miss that a lot. Let's try another example. Do you think you could pick me up from the store later? Because I really need a ride. Now there you clearly saw that there was a bit of delay, as I mentioned, so it's kind of random, but it's pretty cool, and it learns your dictation, cuz C-U-Z. So anyways, I do love that. I miss that voice typing. There are other apps that can give you voice typing, not as good as the Pixel, and if anything, security risks, but that's for another video. But I would say that those features are great, but I will give it 5 points because I'm just going to call it what it is, and I feel like a lot of reviewers are giving a lot of grace for the Pixel. There's a lot of marketing backing up this phone, and I feel like there's a small bubble of people that are trying to keep claiming that this phone is worth your money, and I think it is if you're a specific type of user. But I don't like that the specs that they're adding to this aren't up to par to what you get, across these other competitors like Samsung and OnePlus. You're getting less battery, less charging, less performance, and the outstanding thing that reviewers continue to say is, but the chip, it is good, and you may not need all the performance, and the tensor, is good enough. Well, here's the thing: if I'm paying good enough price, why can't I go to another competitor and get better? Yes, I may not need the performance, but when I'm starting to look at your other areas like your hardware, while you're only relying on AI, and I can get better cameras here, or better battery here, or better charging here, and you're still trying to charge me what the other guys are doing, I don't think that's adding up. So I question, why is it that people continue to not call it what it is? I think there's a lot of marketing going on here, and while I think the phone is great, it's just not for everyone. I think there's a little bit more that it can do. Not only that, now I am going to rant, because the features that everyone keeps talking about are features that have come out on the older series phones. It's always talking about the great things that, the call screening and the voice detection that I just showed you, but I never hear a lot of reviewers talk about the newer features, and I wonder why. And it's getting me to think that maybe it's because the features that Pixel offers you aren't as great as what they seem to be. Things like bubble cooldown, or the emoji wallpapers, or wicked themes. I know I said that a lot of times, but literally, why isn't anyone talking about newer stuff? Whereas when I go to One UI or even OnePlus, I am getting newer stuff, and it is useful. And instead on the Pixel, we're just talking about things that have been there for a while. And while they're great, let's talk about what's new. Crickets, not sure. 5 points for the Pixel. Next, 4 points for the Oppo. I like the Oppo. Essentially, it's now feeding the features to the OnePlus. I don't think they're unique features because these China competitors are copying across other brands, but I like the way they execute. I mean, some things that are unique, like Wi-Fi, like Direct, being able to use your Wi-Fi network, your SIM card, at the same time for accelerated speeds are great. But I don't think they're flashy features, and that's why I'm giving 4 points, because I think other people are going to look at these phones and say it's boring. So the Pixel and the Samsung, I would say, yeah, even though I like the Oppo, other people will look at those phones and think, they're better. After 4 points to the Oppo, we're going to say 3 points to the OnePlus, because, they're pretty much identical at this point. Oppo and OnePlus getting the same thing. And then lastly, 2 for the Xiaomi. At this point, I don't really have much to say. Oppo, Xiaomi, Vivo, across the board, they kind of do similar things because they're copying each other in some ways and other ways not. But it's, it's a little bit more exciting than what the Vivo gives you. So I'm giving 2 points to the Xiaomi. But at the same time, with the update rollouts, I don't feel like it's worth, getting the Xiaomi, because the features you're getting aren't fixing the big problems like optimization. And then lastly, Vivo features there. While optimization sucks on the Xiaomi, the Vivo, though, I would say is the least exciting. It doesn't have a lot of what the Oppo has or even what the Xiaomi has. It does in some ways look similar, but it's kind of bare bones and it's not exciting. While it has great camera, I just didn't find it to be like a great package overall. And so to wrap up this ranking, we see that the Pixel ends it with 24 points, 4th place. With that, last things to say about the phone. Beautiful design. It's almost there, guys. I have a love-hate relationship with the Pixel. I feel like for years and years and years, there's been a lot of things that Google is doing good, but a lot more that it just needs to fix. And while people are giving grace to the phone, I just cannot recommend this across the board to a majority of people from my own experience. Now, I know I am a different type of user that may not be marketed to this device. I need something that I can trust in terms of battery, durability, reliability, as well as optimization. And unfortunately, the past Pixels had some issues in those areas. The Pixel 7, just couldn't trust it for work calls. It would overheat, battery would drain. Now, I know this is a long story that people don't like to hear anymore. I will give credit to Google. It has fixed those issues with the 9 series and even the 10 series. I have used this long enough to feel that I can trust it. And it's almost there, but I will say it needs to fix the PWM display. If you're sensitive with eyes, you may feel some strain, and a lot of people are talking about this, but you may find yourself feeling dry irritation, dryness in your eye, irritated eyes. I have a brother who I actually was giving a Pixel 9 Pro at a good deal. And I'm telling you, this deal was so good. I think I was giving it to him for like $300, but he literally could not use it because it would give him headaches. Now, I don't have that level of sensitivity. I actually do feel some sensitivity on my right eye alone. It gets kind of dry. So, I mean, you really got to test it out in stores and see if you're not that kind of a person. If they fix that and then some other battery things, I think it might be there. But for now, this phone, don't take any offense. I think it's for the type of person who really is wanting to, just look good with their social media. I mean, this phone is being sold as great camera, and then more so the leading in AI. And while it did early on start some of the AI stuff that all these other phones have, it's kind of lacking. People continue talking about these older AI features. So it just needs a little bit more optimization, and then maybe other people can use it. But for now, if you're into social media, yeah, this is probably targeted to you. So a little more work, and then we'll see what happens. So like, comment, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed that. I buy all these phones with my own money, so your support and engagement is helpful, giving me the encouragement to do this. So